So we're here to solve this Fillomino puzzle by Murat Can Tonta called 28 Dice. It's a theme that uses just the digits 1 through 6, and you try to have as few symmetric placements as you can in the grid. And you'll see that while 28 is not the minimum, it's a pretty elegant design. You can get one that works like that. Oftentimes with these low digit puzzles, you want to look for a lot of instances of the same digit that have some tension. This 2 can't come to the left because of the 2 right there. This 2 and this 2 are actually in pretty strong tension because where the 2 sees either of these cells, it never can take this cell, so this 2 has to come down and can't go right, and that finishes out the rest of these. We've got a hidden shape growing up here, which can't be part of the 3, so it's got to be at least 4. There's similarly tension around these 3s. This 3 and this 3 can come up, but it has to always take this cell. Sort of see for yourself that if we took this and then took either of those, we'd grow too large. This 3 then has a similar story for it, and now it no longer can come down to these cells. It can come left to this cell, but it always has to come up and take this cell. And placing that, now this 3 has extra tension on it. It can come down and take this, but it always has to take this cell. And in putting that in, we now get the start of the 6 group coming down. We can see from the 6 group, it's going to have some tension with this 6. It can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it can't take this cell, so it always takes this, which takes this clue for this 3. This 3 and this 3 are now in tension. This 3 could take 1 above, but always has to take this 1 to the right. That actually is going to finish out the 6 group entirely, which we'll just mark in. And this 5 now has to come over to the left, but it can't join this hidden polyomino, so it's got to come up and finish. This is 4 cells with a 5th cell, and it can't come up to be a 5, so it's going to have to be 1 and 4 as a split. This 3 has to come down, and looks like we've got a good start there. And this may be a time where it will help some of you to sort of see edges in the grid. I'm just going to mark the edges right here to give you that here is a cell that's isolated, must grow out, and it can't be a 1. And in marking that, it can't be a 2 or a 3 or a 4. And so it's going to have to keep growing. And if you look here where we've got a 3 coming down, this had to keep growing to the right. So it's not a 4. It's now touching a 5, but not a 5. It could be a 6. And so having that in the grid gives us some more constraints. First, this 4 has to come down, but that means these 4s are now under some pressure. They can take this cell, but they always have to take this cell. And in marking those in the grid, we're going to see that we've got some more progress for sure made. Let's finish this upper right corner while we've got it, and it will probably help to just see some of the shape for it. We've got a total of 8 cells, and this cell here can't be a 1 or a 2, so it's got to be larger than that. And a group that's got a 6 in it is going to leave behind 6 and 2 1s or 6 and a 2. And given that this cell has to be larger than 2, it's always going to be part of the 6. And the question now is, what do we leave behind? If we don't take this cell, for instance, and the 6 comes up here, we put a 2 near a 2, so we must take that cell. If we take this cell, we also still leave a 2 with a 2. So that finishes like this. This, I said it could be a 6, but actually it's touching a 6, so it's got to come down here and take a 7th cell. And with the 5 forcing it, that limits the last options for it. This 6 has to come up, and in coming up, it puts the last 4 in the grid. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Being forced, this 4 comes over. This 5 now has to grab and get enough cells somehow. This 5 has to come and take this cell, which puts this 2 down here. The 6 has just enough space for it, so the 4 has just enough space. The 5 has just enough space. This 5 grows out. This 3 grows out. We've got another hidden polyomino. It's going to grow from here, and it's going to deflect out, so it's not part of this 3. And putting in the 3 and putting in the last cells for the 5, we have, again, 4 with a single 1 left over, and that's going to finish the grid. So I went through this puzzle more marking numbers and edges. You may actually prefer seeing the edges to be able to visualize, but either of these are styles that our checker can do. Getting all the numbers in the grid or all the borders marked will solve the thing right. The key steps for this puzzle, we're seeing the tensions between shared digits. The 2s at the start and the 3s at the start did a lot. That actually gave us this pattern where the 6 had to come down but couldn't come all the way over to the 6. And in doing that, we got isolated sets over on the upper left side. Eventually formed this hidden polyomino shape that had to grow down, grew as large as 7. So this was the one shape that broke the dice rule being a number larger than 6, but putting that in got us through the rest of the grid. So a good medium difficulty puzzle, a lot of lessons to learn by watching this solve, and hopefully you can bring them to the next time you solve a Fillomino. We'll see you again soon.